Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect One-Word Conversations. One-Word Conversations is a global self-discovery relationship building conversation designed to help us look at our language and how that one word can cause connection or disconnection. Many times we can come up with the perfect words and we still find ourselves in a place of disconnection because words don't just come with definitions. They come with stories, expectations, feelings, all those things that sometimes can get in the way of connecting. So the more that we're willing to have a one-word conversation, the more that we're able to learn more about ourselves and the person that we're speaking with and build on that relationship. One-Word Conversations is brought to you by IamWilliamBrown.com, a place to help you be yourself and live your life. One way that I spotlight what's available at IamWilliamBrown.com is our U-Cards. Our U-Cards are in support of the Beyond the Shell book series. The Beyond the Shell children's book, and not just for children's books. That is the journey to stay you and finding you beyond what protects you. So the U-Cards that I picked for today are I am kind, you are full of joy, and before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, from Jeremiah 1:5. So with that in mind, this is the moment where I invite you to like, share, ask questions, comment, subscribe, do all those things to let me know that you are a part of this conversation. So the word today is roots. So I was very intrigued when this word was given to me as an alternative to kind of to look at for today, because there's a number of things that show up with that. So as I do, this is the moment where I invite my guests in so we can have a conversation.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello. Thank you
This
for having me.
Yeah, this is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
Thank you so much, William. Hello, everybody. My name is Lia Zorzou, and I am a paradigm expert. I help
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, business owners, and visionaries all around the world to lead with increased self awareness so they can get the life they really want. I help them love, and accept their amazing true selves
Hmm.
by getting rid of all roles and paradigms that they have been carrying for decades.
Hmm.
This is what I do. I also have a Facebook group that I run, Intelligent Leaders, Entrepreneurs Who Build Thriving Businesses. And I am on LinkedIn and Facebook every day.
Right. Well, wonderful. Thank you. There's a lot of things that we have in common to how we're showing up in the world. And so I am so honored to have you here today. So the word of today is roots. So how does that land for you?
I would have to share a bit of my story.
Okay.
Uh, 6 years ago, I come from the academic. I was running multi-million dollar projects for years. I have been living in the UK for years. 14 years ago, I gave up everything and I traveled around the world.
Hmm.
6 years ago, though, I was running my tech awarded startup, the first um, my first try on being a businesswoman.
Hmm.
So I had just finished a really amazing program, and I had a team of 6 people. We had a product, and I was talking to investors. So I was living my dream life. I was very excited.
Right.
At that time, my sister was diagnosed with a rare disease. My younger sister, who was recently divorced with 2 young kids. My reaction to that was to leave my husband and my son to leave my team and my business and to run with her to the doctors. Sometimes I would take her test results and I would go to meet doctors on my own. And in the evening, I would do research to find the best clinic and the best treatment for her. Okay. After 3 months, my sister had a plan and a team of doctors. I was left depressed, really sad, home. I had lost my enthusiasm. I had lost my energy. I had lost the relationship with my husband was shaky, and I couldn't take care of my son. It was the first time in my life. I mean, I kept thinking, I don't like this life. I don't want this life. What have I done wrong? Because, as I told you, I had, degrees, I had experience, I had worked abroad, I had done so many things and still I was feeling sad.
Right.
And it was the first time in my life at 40 years of age that I said, I need help. I need help outside of my friends and family. And I remember an amazing woman that I had met a few years back, that she had impressed me by her experience. When someone has lived through a lot of experiences and she has studied something for so many years, you can feel it. And I remember feeling that. So I trusted her and I went to her and I was introduced in the systemic training approach, which is you work in groups to understand your different roles in the different systems. So for me, for example, I was a mother, I was a daughter, I was a sister, I was a wife, I was an entrepreneur, I was the leader. So you have all these roles. And by doing experiential exercises, I was allowed to see what was happening, what was truly happening. And I discovered that when I reacted to my sister like this, it was the role that I had in my family that made me take this action. Because for years, I was regarded as the person who would never ask for help. She would always be, the perfect kid, the great student. She would have scholarships. She would do everything on her own.
Right.
My sister, on the other hand, was regarded as the girl that she would need help every single time. She wouldn't ask for it. But, in our families, the dynamics were like this. And I remember my mentor saying, Lia, this role served you when you were a kid. And the amazing thing is that we get, even if before we are born, our parents decide the role that the kid will have in the family.
Wow.
To serve their relationship, to serve their environment, okay? So she told me, I remember that afternoon that she told me, now, Lia, you can decide who you want to be. What you like, what you don't like. If you want to help someone, if you want to help yourself, if you want to put yourself top, because you need to put yourself top.
Right.
You need to, no one's coming to save you, and you are never going to save anybody other than you.
Wow.
My first thought was, oh my God, this is gold. I'm doing this. And, suddenly it was like all the lights in the room were on. And I said, okay, this is, freedom. And my next thought was, my next step is going to be to help others. So I have been trained on exactly the system that saved my life. And now I have a leadership program that lasts for 12 months that I do these experiential exercises and I help people see how their current behavior is related to their past.
Wow. Wow. It's I've been thank you for sharing that. I've been just really trying to just take it in. I have a conversation around labels. You mentioned roles, and living beyond our labels and recognizing it's not kind of making them good or bad, but just recognizing what they are, how people expect us to show up in those roles or in that label. And that when we are beyond those, then, like you said, we get to decide. We get to decide how we can show up. And it's, for me, roots are show up the same way. There's a number of ways that um, I feel like I can't show up because of
Mm.
of my past, of the way people see me, of the
Mm.
of those roles or those labels that people have seen me as. And so there is this almost this pulling and pushing feel that I have with my identity and how I show up in my life
Mm.
because of the roots. When I think of roots, I look literally, right? So I
Yeah.
look literally at a tree.
Mhm.
Start off as a seed, and you kind of you nourish that, and then it is gets grounded, and it's in the ground, it's going deeper in the ground, and at the same time moving towards the sun, right? So
Yeah.
there is activity going down and activity going up. And so looking at my life, where are there areas that are getting rooted, right? That have
Mhm.
roots and still going forward? Most of the times, to be honest, I just get grounded and stay grounded and just kind
Mm.
of, dormant, sometimes feel like I'm dead. And it's like, are there roots, right? Am I connected to something that can, forward life, and it's like, as an entrepreneur, as a person that gets all these ideas, sometimes I feel like I have all these ideas with no roots, right? And
Okay.
it just feels like it's not going anywhere. And it's like, okay, do I need to nurture this more? Do I need whatever? Is there something missing that's keeping this from taking root? And that's so it's just kind of interesting how, my life, my ideas, and just how I'm showing up, kind of, roots are involved.
It's funny that you mentioned a tree with the roots because a client recently reminded me what I had used as an example to her to show her that actually, when you know who you are,
Mm,
no one can actually move you to another
mm,
direction.
right.
And I had used a tree to describe
Mm,
this. And as you identify your roots and you understand where you are coming from,
right.
the roots expand.
Mm,
So the tree is far more stable, so you can grow.
right.
So you can grow wherever you want to go. You can go wherever you want to go. You can dream without
Right.
limitations.
Right. It's something that one of my core values is independence, and within that independence, there's a hint of freedom, and kind of trying to get an understanding of what that means. And it's what I'm bumping up against right now is that roots given me this stability, right,
Mhm.
and this stableness, right, and the foundations. But at the same time, it feels like it's keeping me from moving, right?
Yeah.
It's keeping me from experiencing something else. And it's like, how can I go everywhere and nowhere at the same time? Right?
Mm.
It's so it's like my there's a dream that I have of being location independent and not really understanding what that means, but really really saying that I don't want anything that I'm doing that forces me to be in a particular location.
Mhm.
So it
Okay.
allows me to move, but at the same time, I have to have a level of stability, right? Roots, foundation, to be able to have that flexibility.
Who says that?
Well, I say that, right? Right? I believe
Yeah,
that that's
yeah,
that's what I currently believe.
yeah,
That's
exactly. This is your belief, and
right.
I would just say, so is this your belief, or you have taken this from your roots?
Hmm.
You are carrying this.
Right. Well, I don't know. That's an inquiry right there.
I believe it is. And it is funny that you are saying how connected and not connected you are
Hmm.
sometimes. Since I can remember myself, I had a hesitation and a denial to connect with my roots. Maybe
Hmm.
because I left very young. I left from home 18 years old. I went to study and then I went abroad and I lived, I was independent and I was away. What happened with my sister, though, I think if this hadn't happened, I would never have found my true purpose.
Hmm. Wow.
I think my reaction was because of my roots, and because at that time I was living in Athens for a while, so I was very close. And this is why I reacted like this. But I think this, I mean, I haven't shared this, but unfortunately, my sister passed away
Hmm.
14 months ago. So it is this process helped me be a true sister and not a savior
Great.
during
Wow.
the last 2 years of her life.
Hmm.
So I think roots for me, and especially how they appeared and how I lost everything only to find out who I truly was,
Right.
helped me a lot. And as I say, I had a denial for years. I didn't want to. I don't know why, but I didn't feel connected to my roots.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're bringing something up with me is that there's I felt that there was a number of experiences in the way that my family has shown up for me in the past that I have rejected them.
Mhm.
Always felt as an outcast, right? Always there was this feeling that
I
it's
can
like
feel you. I can feel you.
there was, it was like I don't know where these people came from, right? It's like this is not my family, right? This is as a young child. It was like I had this awareness that these weren't my people, right? Um,
Mm,
and and so I think I went through many years of really denying my roots, right? Um
mm,
and where I came from. So I lost a sense of myself. And
mm,
so there was so I'm trying to reconcile in my mind right now within this conversation that the more that I'm able to embrace my roots, or I don't know, so um, fully understand it, or fully appreciate it, or love it, or even like it, but just kind of be aware of them, it would give me access, or at least parts of myself, so I can show up. I love how you said, because I have this, superhero persona, right? Of that I went from being a savior to a sister, right?
mm.
Just showing up as a sister. That I didn't need to be a savior,
Yeah.
right? That I just really just wanted to be with my sister. And I think I'm trying to look at areas in my family, the family that, I've been married for 30 years and I have kids. And there are many times where I show up as the savior and not
Mm.
just the dad, not just the husband, you know, or,
I can feel you.
or the
Yeah, I know.
brother. And it's just like, ugh.
You know, there are a couple of things that came to my mind. When you were talking about understanding your roots and your family and how actually where you stand. I remember that actually everything I do now is based on how people feel.
Hmm.
We don't give permission to ourselves to feel angry, to feel
Hmm.
happy, to really connect with how we feel. We suppress everything. We block everything because when you have specific roles, this is what you do. I grew up
Hmm.
in a house where when I was going to cry, my dad would say, "Oh, don't cry, don't be upset." So I didn't have the option to cry and be upset.
Hmm.
I didn't have, I mean, I remember when my mentor started asking me, "How do you feel?" And I would say, "I'm fine." I couldn't connect. I didn't know what feeling was,
Right.
happy, sad. I wouldn't dare to say this.
Hmm.
So when I start, everything I do now, the whole of my program and everything is based on emotional intelligence. How
Hmm.
you connect with your feelings. Do you dare to say, "I'm happy"? People cannot say "I'm happy." They don't let themselves feel happy because for
Right.
years, like you and me, they have been saviors. They
Hmm.
have been the perfect kids,
Right.
ready to satisfy other people's expectations.
Right.
So what I usually say is that feelings is here in a fist.
Hmm.
There are no bad and good feelings. There are all feelings, and we want everything. We welcome everything because
Right.
when you open it, you can feel everything. When you have it closed, you cannot feel pain. You cannot feel happiness, though, at the
Right.
same time.
Hmm.
And I had something in my mind that I forgot, the second thing, but it will come back again.
Right. It's there. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you recognize. I start every broadcast, and I actually start my day saying "Happy Today,"
Love this.
and what that's about is I by what you just was said, and it just kind of came to me, is getting connected to my feelings, right?
Mm,
Because there's so many years that I wasn't connected to my feelings, and there were so many external ways that I was looking for happy, right? I was
yeah.
looking for other people to bring me happiness. I was looking for a situation. So my acknowledgement of happy today is more about being grateful that I'm
Yeah.
alive, right? And looking for gratitude and finding happy in my day, in the moment. Today is the only day that I have, right? I can wish for tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And the next day and all that other kind of stuff, I can look on my calendar and see that I have a lot of things planned,
Mhm, mhm,
beyond today. But if I am not willing to be present to today
mhm.
and to look for happy today, happy may not show up.
Yes, I love this. Well done. I love this.
And yeah, it's my desire um to really not suppress or manage my emotions, but just be with them.
Mm.
And I've been hanging out with fear for a while, right? um, and and it's like a gift because the fear, when the more that I understand why fear shows up, it's because there's a sense that I am going to lose something that's very important to me. And so because of that fear, I don't allow that fear to dictate how I show up, but it
Mhm,
lets me see that, hey, you know what? I'm fearful that I'm going to make a horrible decision in my business. I'm fearful that I'm not going to say the right things to my wife or to my kids or to
mm,
my potential client. However, I'm not going to stay there, but I'm still going to have that conversation with my wife.
mm,
I'm
mhm.
still going to call that potential client. I'm still going to make decisions in my business.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's, yeah, that's what I'm open to,
Mm.
because I'm connected. I choose to connect to my feelings, but don't allow my feelings to dictate how I'm going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, when we were discussing on our own, I'm running a 3-day workshop from fear to freedom.
Mm,
So actually, I was saying today, and what you are describing is, you see fear, you experience it, you look at it, you welcome it, and you go through it.
mm,
You need to go through it, and when you go through it, you grow.
right.
You take the next step. And actually, I reminded the participants that look back. I usually work with people from 45 to 55, 60 years old, okay? People
Mhm.
that have experience of life and they know that they have reached the point that they need help.
Right.
And I asked them today, look back. How many times have you felt fear
Right.
coming?
Right.
And, then it is, these times are the times that actually our families and our environment
Mm,
were approving what we were doing.
right.
And I think fear is more evident when we feel that others will criticize us
Right.
or they will not accept us. But I'm not starting my day by saying I'm happy day.
Mm,
I'm thinking how grateful I am, though.
mm.
So which is the same thing exactly.
Right. It shows
Yeah.
up the same way. Right. It
Yeah.
shows up the same way. The more expansive that happy has become for me, because I can remember a large part of my life. Happy was when I was smiling, right, or laughing. That was
Mm-hmm.
it. If I wasn't smiling or or laughing, I wasn't happy. And so I realized that happy um, and happiness, there's a lot of emotions, and there's a lot of layers to that. And the
Yeah,
more
of
that
course.
I embrace that, and I think the one way that I want to bring into this conversation around that, and it's bringing me to this, is roots and our ancestors, right? The people,
Mm.
not the people that are living, but really recognize the stories and and I mean, this sounds weird for me, because a year ago I wouldn't have said anything like this, but this is where I am right now. Is that what I hear about my ancestors and what I am hearing from my ancestors now
Mm-hmm.
is causing me to really embrace happiness in my life and who I am, because of how things have shown up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And because the fact that this is where I am about roots, that I I am I am still connected to my roots, even if I don't feel like I'm connected to my roots, because when we're not connected to our roots, we are not alive. If you
Oh,
look at roots, right? Roots are an indication that there is still life. There is
that's
still
true.
movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're not connected to our roots, we're not living. We are in the process of dying. And so the more that I connect to my roots and acknowledge my roots, and like I said, I don't have to fully understand, but there is life that
Yeah.
I can have life now, and I can have life in the future. And that is that type of thing. And it was like I said, the image of roots just going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Cool.
going
Yeah.
down and across and
Yeah.
over and
Growing.
through
Yeah.
and all that. And still, every moment of life, there is an addition to our roots.
Mm-hmm.
It's either something new is added or something is being strengthened.
Yeah, and that reminds me what I wanted to say earlier about the roots and how the trees communicate.
Hmm.
The
Wow.
trees communicate through the roots as well.
Wow.
And as they grow and as they expand, this is how they interact and they exchange nutrients.
Hmm.
My first degree was in social science. I am an environmental scientist.
Wow.
So, so these everything relates suddenly. Everything that I have done in my life. So this is how actually we can connect with each other. If we go back a bit and see how our parents and grandparents and the previous generations have lived and understand their environment and their conditions,
Hmm.
we can start understanding us more.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
actually, yeah, we may be able to find the courage to say, okay, I don't have to be perfect.
Hmm.
I just need to grow every day, to feel
Hmm.
happy, as you say, to be connected with the present. Yes, and the other thing I want to say about this was what you said, yes, about being present. Yesterday, someone asked me, do you, if you haven't done what you are doing today, would you do? What you would choose to do?
Right.
And I was so inspired by what I had done my day and focused, and I spent 2 to 3 hours every day on my self-improvement. I
Right.
go out, I walk, I run, I stay alone, okay, and I work with myself. And this is sacred time.
Hmm.
And I said, I would never, I wouldn't have changed anything. I'm
Hmm.
so happy.
Wow. Wow. That's I really grow. There's so many activities that I have that it's kind of I don't put in the personal growth category, right? But they definitely are. It's like me taking a walk or moving
Yeah.
around or all that kind of stuff. It's like, huh, I thought that's just what we do. No, that's a part of personal growth, right? That's a part of right, of
Yeah.
growing. And it's like, wow. Because I've really departmentalized growth for if I'm learning something. Did I learn something right
Ah,
in my
wow, this is
mind? If it's
interesting.
thinking, um, and realizing that there was a lot of areas because I I said something earlier today. I do a morning reflections today, and I got caught on reflections, and it's like most of the times when I reflect in the morning, it's about something that what I've seen, something that
Mhm,
has happened, right?
mhm, mhm.
Instead of reflecting on what I currently see.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, huh, I would make a and this is what I feel. I think I would make a difference if I am not just reflecting what I have seen, but what I see and my ability to really be present to what I'm seeing and what I when I close my eyes within meditation, what I am um willing to see in those moments, then I am rooted in something, right? Then
Mm,
there are roots. Then there is growth, and I like I said, I think I am missing all of the areas um, that I am growing and that I am learning and that I am connected to ancestors and my roots to really help me live, a full life.
mm.
And like I said, sometimes, what I see, right, gets in the way of what I see. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
um,
I have
yeah.
an amazing mentor who who used to say, our mind is the greatest storyteller. Don't
Hmm.
listen to it.
Hmm.
It creates
Wow.
stories. And when actually I try to help someone by when they say, I have these thoughts and I cannot stop my thoughts and I worry and I have anxiety and, everything I think all the bad things that can happen, I say to them, go out and look at the trees, look at the grass, notice
Right.
what is around you at that
Right.
moment.
Right.
Because we need to pause this mind
Right.
sometimes to be there, to be present.
Right. Yeah, the conversations, I haven't done this recently. I don't know if it's COVID or laziness or I don't know. But just haven't been out, side much, just experiencing nature.
Mm.
There was a time in, I think it's around summer, where there was this compulsion, right? I was just
Mhm.
compelled to be in the park, to be
Mm.
with trees, to take my shoes off and touch the grass, right? And I didn't know what that was all about, right? Because I grew up in the city,
Mm.
the concrete jungle, as they say, right? So one thing, you didn't take your shoes off, right? Right,
Yes,
but
you're not allowed.
right. And there weren't that many trees, around. And in some places, and where they were, you're kind of, I don't know, you just didn't hang out in the woods, right? You didn't, there's just, terrible things happen in the woods, but really recognizing that when we connect to nature, and I think
Mm.
I find it fascinating that that's a part of your studies, because when we really connect to nature, we're connecting to ourselves, right?
Yes.
We really get access to who we are, and there are so many times it feels like we, I don't want to say we're at odds with nature, but it feels like because of our brain, because of our intellect, we try to like outsmart nature, right? We
Mm.
try to be, we try to just like, oh, it's just like, I don't want to get on a soapbox of medicine and all that other kind of stuff, but prescription drugs, right? It's like an imitation of natural remedies, right? It is adding to, and kind of because of our society needs, we're going to kind of make it more available on a wider scale. So we manufacture all this stuff, to kind of, to have you. I don't know what I'm saying, but it just feels like we're adding to nature instead of just going along with nature to really help us understand and heal ourselves and be with ourselves and just
Mm.
kind of do that. There's a lot more roots that if we really connect and really not try to bypass or add to, that there would be a lot less struggle and trauma
Yeah,
and disease in our life.
exactly what you said. This is, and
This
actually,
is right.
yeah, this
Mhm.
is, and not being at ease. And this is, yeah, you're so. I mean, I can so much relate, especially in the first lockdown,
Mhm.
last spring. I needed to be out every day.
Right. Right.
So I was actually gathering the family and I was saying, we'll take the bikes, and we are very fortunate to be living next to the sea. So we will take our bikes and go for a bike ride and walk in the park and come back. We wouldn't meet with anyone.
Right.
It was COVID free, and we would walk on the grass and just stay out for 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. You come back, rebirth, a
Right.
new
Right.
person, and then you can, because of, I'm feeling so grateful that now we are in two parts of the world that are so far apart, okay,
Mm.
and we can connect, we can have this conversation, we can use these tech all around us and actually connect with our clients. some of my clients are very, very far, living very far from me. And I
Right.
feel so grateful that now, living like this, I know I miss connecting with people, I miss discussing with people. On the other hand, I see that this has brought to light so much wisdom,
Mm,
wisdom and just believing that we can be comfortable and have a happy life in another ways as well.
right. Right.
Not just
Mm,
by working 9 to 5 or 10 or 12 hours a day, but have
right.
gaps in the middle of the day and go out and
Right.
come back refreshed and spend time with our families. I don't know how your family is operating, but at the moment, my husband works from home, I work from home. For months, my kid wouldn't go to school, so we had to find another balance. So it was,
Mm,
let's create another
right.
balance that will work for us. And being
Right.
out, connecting with the environment, I think help us a lot.
Right. Right. To achieve that balance. Yeah. I think we can talk about this for hours.
Yes.
Because the more that we talk, the more that I kind of see how we're connected. And because even with distance, it's like the roots have really kind of like crossed seas and right across all the interwebs and all that other kind of stuff, as we say. But is there anything that came up in this conversation that you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah. Would just like people overlook it when I share my story. The fact that I decided to ask for help at 40
Hmm.
years of age for the first time in my life.
Hmm. Got it.
So I would advise someone, if you don't get the life or you don't get the results that you want in your business, in your family, in your personal life, ask for help. There is a
Hmm.
reason why you haven't done it on your own. You cannot.
Hmm.
And I remember when I first asked for help, I felt lighter and I
Hmm.
felt freedom. Freedom that actually I don't know everything and I don't want to know everything and
Right.
I don't want to have the answers. So I would advise you, ask for help. You know,
Hmm.
ask for it, because
Wow.
we are not supposed to live here on earth figure figuring everything out on our own.
Right.
Okay, we're not supposed to be like this.
Right. Wow. Thank you very much. I am learning that lesson for myself because I have a hard time asking for help. But I've
I'm
I've
so
recognizing I'm
mm,
recognizing manifestation happens. I manifest things in my life
mhm,
when I tell people about it, right?
mm,
When I share what I'm up to and what I'm trying to do, when I am
mm.
asking people to be a part of what I want to see in the world, it happens.
I love this.
Um, and
I love.
that's what asking for help is giving people the opportunity to come along with you because we're already connected.
Yes,
They
yes, we
we
are.
just they just want to hear and be reminded of that. Thank you very much. This has been great.
Thank you so much, William.
I would love to say our goodbyes in the green room if you can, but
Yes,
this has definitely
of
been
course.
great. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Wow. Um, ask for help. It's sometimes we forget. Well, I'll speak for myself. I forget that we are connected. I forget that there is someone right next to me that wants to, even if they're across around the world, that wants to see me show up fully in the world because we are rooted together. There are so many areas of our lives that um, we lose sight of our roots. And so I think that is the inquiry for today. Just see where you have roots. You don't have to understand them all. You don't even have to know how they're helping or how they're benefiting you. Just take a look. And some of the answers that you may be looking for, you may already have. I don't know if I'm speaking to myself or I'm speaking to someone else, but you already have. You already have everything that you need because you are rooted. I hope this conversation has brought value, not just to your day, but to your life. I invite you to reach out to me at IamWilliamBrown.com to schedule your introductory coaching session. Or you can go to my calendar. You know what? My link. I never say that right. Sometimes when you say, when you create words out there, and it's just not pronounced words correctly. So, but there's a link there that you can schedule your session with me so you can be yourself and live your life. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, but the world isn't waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow on One Word Conversations.